Splitgate 2 is here, or it was very briefly, then it disappeared into the wind like the toot of a pigeon. And while the playtest was fun, it was not what I expected. I was hoping you could shoot two portals at the same time that lead to separate, equally inhospitable dimensions suitable for decompressing after a long day of getting pistol whipped. But unfortunately, you can only shoot one portal at a time. Plus, the logo looks like it's Splitgate squared, which would be Splitgate times Splitgate, which is an equation that the modern mathlete is simply not ready for. So I vote to change the name to Splitgate 1+1. This avoids my earlier confusion and weeds out anyone who's not able to do basic math, which is absolutely a requirement in this chaotic sequel. For instance, the graphics are at least 3 times better than they were previously. The lighting and animations feel much more natural this time around and far less paint by numbers. There are now 2 different announcers to listen out for. There's a standard baritone arena announcer yelling out major updates.
2, 1, round 1.
And there's also a more timid voice in your ear who sounds like the kind of person that would help clean up the dishes after a dinner party.
Airdrop incoming. Loot might be worth the risk.
The controls now have 2 fewer buttons to memorize. In the first game, you projected your first and second portals individually and could close each one individually. Now, these have been consolidated into 2 buttons instead of 4, so you shoot portals with just 1 button and close down the connection with another button. I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hoof, it makes it much more accessible for newcomers to understand the controls much faster, but it also limits the skill ceiling because you can't control precisely which portal you're manipulating. Regardless, it is now 5 times more difficult to spot the portal walls than before. There's no eye-catching texture on the walls, just a random shade of medium blue. It falls in line with the overall desire to be less cartoonish in its presentation, which I personally find offensive, but it does match the ambiance of the updated environments. Speaking of which, the maps on average are about 1.25 times smaller than the first entry, but 1.78 times more dense. This adds up to a collection of levels that look great and offer more close-quarters combat, but don't feel quite as grand and dramatic as some we've seen before. One of the biggest changes this time around has to be the new abilities. There are now 5 new loadout slots to take advantage of. There's an active and passive ability attached to the character you choose, there are perk slots that you can customize within your loadouts, and you can now equip an actual grenade instead of a throwable portal closer. But how can I close the enemy's portals, you may be wondering? Don't worry, little one, Dirt will answer all of these questions and more. Now you can simply replace an enemy portal with your own. It takes a lot less time and doesn't require calculations for gravity, wind speed, and the Coriolis effect. Again, hardcore players may not love this approach, but remember, I'm not the inventor, I'm just a humble reporter. The first revelation that made me truly upset was the realization that you can't rotate your character. Not even a little. They just stand there like a wax figure that doesn't even look like the celebrity it's based on. Something that I really appreciated was the fact that, depending on the game mode, your respawn countdown would decrease by 3 seconds when your team got another elimination. This added a delightful little burst of energy when you're waiting to jump back in. As with the first game, there are special weapons to be picked up throughout the arena at rotating intervals, but some of these weapons will block the use of your abilities, including shooting any portals. This forces you to choose between freedom of movement and freedom of firepower. I think this is a great idea for the sake of balance and makes you think twice about picking up new weapons. Now, I can't believe it's taken me this long to mention my favorite observation. There's pink on every loading screen. It's gorgeous. Look at that gradient. Yeah, there's other colors too, but the hero is obviously pink. We can all agree on that. If you're feeling as energetic as I am right now, it might be due to playing a game from the Chaos playlist. Chaos game modes double the movement speed and quadruple the anarchy. If your doctor has been telling you to increase your heart rate but you don't like to stand up, this is the game mode for you. I can't recommend it for long-term entertainment, but if you have the attention span of a mosquito, you should give it a try. What I really appreciated about my time in the Splitgate 2 Open Alpha was the efficiency of my playtime. I played almost 15 games in just 2 hours. The loading times were fast, the rounds were perfectly paced, and there was even the chance of raising the stakes with a sudden death tiebreaker where there's no respawning.
Respawns disabled.
I can't say everything was perfect, but I had a good time, and what more could you ask for? Well, we're gamers, so we could ask for a lot more, and we do, and we will. Speaking of which, I would like the stuff in the game to be more better. I want more better things, and I want them yesterday. Give me the things, give me free stuff! Oh, yay, vengeance. Are you gonna play Splitgate 2? How many gates are you gonna split it into? 36? You're gonna split it into 36 gates? Are you kidding? There's too many gates. We're gonna be exposed. What were you thinking?